Hi, everyone. Welcome to Portia's Place, where you'll never whine alone. I am your host, Travita, and am honored just beyond words to have my friend in the house today here at Portia's Place, Jeremy Wilson. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you so much. Hello, 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 Travita. Hello, everyone in the Portia's Place world. The day is here.
The day is here. Do you see why we're friends? Do you see how our energy bounces off of each other, right? Listen, we are so excited today. I'm going to tell you all a little bit about this man sitting beside me. He is the founder of Fired Up Soul Entertainment, also known as Fuse. Now, sidebar, I have to say this. I never mention dates or times when we're recording episodes. But when we were selecting a day for Jeremy to visit us, we weren't even thinking about it being Memorial Day. Now,
No.
Memorial Day, what do we think about? Fireworks, explosions, Fuse.
For sure.
Like, listen, y'all know I don't believe in coincidence,
sure.
Jeremy.
For sure.
Memorial Day, Fuse. Like, come on, y'all. Like, it was meant to be today.
It was meant to be today.
Today. All right. Okay. I get caught up. Let me stop. Okay. So Fuse was established in Wilmington, Delaware in January 2021. So in the heart of the pandemic, Fuse was founded. And we're going to talk about this later. Okay. Jeremy brings his arsenal of talent to inspire his audience to recognize the untapped potential inside of them. He, and this is true, he is passionate when it comes to human connection. I am witness to that. And let me tell you this, Jeremy has this stealth-like humor that cracks me up. Like, he says things and sometimes you just won't get it. But those of us that get it, we get it. We get it, okay? We get it. I'm going to throw this out there, too. Jeremy is a PK. For those of you that know what that club means, I will say no more. For those of you that don't know, you better ask somebody, okay? But the great thing, the thing I want to add about that is Jeremy has really been a fuse for people from many different walks of life. And that's an important part of his music ministry and just who he is as a person. He has had years of live performance and production experience with the Be Sure Worship Band from Chester, PA. Shout out to Chester.
Shout out to Chester.
Yes, yes. Shout out to you, Jamila. I know you're watching, sis.
Oh, wait, not real shots. This is just... We gotta be specific.
Yeah, we gotta be specific. Yes. We're just sending love out to Chester.
Sending love out, yeah. We're sending love out.
Oh gosh, this is gonna be good.
Come on, this is live. Be serious.
I know. I gotta be serious, right? Okay, so Jeremy performs radio and commercial voiceovers. He produces, listen, y'all, stadium music and anthems for sports teams and individuals. And if he is led to do so, Portia's Place. I'm just saying.
Let's go.
Only if he's led to do so, because this is how this man operates, okay? But listen, let that marinate, y'all. Produces stadium music and anthems for sports teams and individuals. Woo, I'm getting the chills. He is a licensed and ordained minister since 2002, and he believes in the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But more importantly, you should do for others what no one else has done for you.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Whether it's hosting, whether it's teaching, whether it's singing, whether it's constructing musical compositions, Jeremy's Fuse is designed to unlock the desire of your heart and ignite an explosion for your future. Fire, 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 okay? Listen, what's happened in these first 5 minutes if you are not intrigued and you don't want to hear what's happening next, listen, I don't know what's going on with you because I'm beside myself with excitement right now. Like I got myself hyped.
I'm
like
ready.
Jeremy,
I'm ready.
I'm hyped about this. We are ready. So again, welcome to Portia's Place.
Thank you.
I'm gonna let you do a lot of talking, but I gotta share something. So Jeremy and I actually met in one of our professional spaces, I shall say.
Yes.
And the first time I ever talked to Jeremy was on Zoom. He had started working with us, and he had not come to the team yet. He was in training, but I had kind of been assigned to be Jeremy's mentor in a sense. So we met on Zoom. We had good conversation, and there was a talent show that was being held. It was like one of those employee engagement things. Jeremy hadn't even really come out like to the team full time.
No.
But they had a talent show, and Jeremy entered this talent show. Now, a newbie, not even like 30 days, okay? He enters this talent show and wins. Okay, now there's some people, y'all know people like this who think they're the most talented and that they'll likely win everything.
Oh, wow.
And here comes Jeremy in, like, the underdog because no one knows him. But the thing about Jeremy is he's never the underdog. He's always, always a level higher. And he won that talent show, and it was just a buzz all around the floor about Jeremy and his singing talents. And he comes to the team, and those talents, those things that I just shared with you about him, it's real. Like, I wasn't telling you something that I heard about him. This is who he is. And he brought that same passion and energy to work every day. And we were having some rough days sometimes.
Days, nights.
It was rough. Jeremy be working some long hours. We all going home. Jeremy is still in the building.
I'm still in the building,
still trying to make it happen. But what I said to you, he's all that and even more. So, what do you remember about our first meeting or our first interactions, Jeremy?
It was such a whirlwind, coming into, the type of employment that we're in. It was a whole world-shaping experience for me because it's not necessarily the background that I come from. So I didn't know what to expect. So yes. I had my feelers out there to try to sense what things would be like or how things would typically take place. So I was very ironically reserved, and that talent aspect kind of afforded me space to be comfortable and be myself. Yes. So that it would help me in those times where I would be face to face meeting people and I was more introverted. Yes. It kind of caused conversation to come to me. Yes. Versus me having to go out for it. Yes. So it was me being myself that created space for people to engage me in a medium that I was comfortable. So it was just a weird, how that whole thing happened was just strange, but I just appreciate it. Meeting you?
Uh-oh.
Who could ever be prepared properly to meet Trevita? I mean, there's such a wealth of knowledge and confidence and passion for all that you do, yet so down to earth. So when I first met you, I was like, what just happened? Like, it was so professional, but at the same time, I felt so at home. And I'm just gonna be me, for lack of better terms, it was just kind of hooded, but it was so professional. Like, it was a great mesh of both worlds that was like, yes, I don't know what that was, but I need to be around that. And there were times where things were great and I learned so much, and then times that just kind of cut me down to like, okay, you really need to dig in and get better at this. But I attribute so much of what I've been able to do, accomplish, and endure in a professional space to being afforded the opportunity to have a relationship with you. It's not something that anybody planned, right? And you just can't plan these kinds of things out. So even having this conversation is a result of me encountering you at a very early stage in my corporate career, where I could have met other people and been jacked up, twisted, messed up, emotionally disturbed. Emotional damage is the term that's going. All of those things could have taken place, but being able to witness not just your light, but how your light reflects and radiates, it's helped shape my professional approach. And so while you've invited me here, I can't go on without saying thank you. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for creating this environment to have conversation. More importantly, thank you for your yes. Because there are so many areas and times in your life where you said no. And it's this one yes that created this opportunity for me just to say thank you and for other people to experience who you are on a greater scale. So thank you. Thank you. That's the PK coming out. Okay, so if y'all didn't know, PK means preacher's kid. I come from a long line of preachers. My father is a preacher. He has been a pastor in ministry for 35, 40 years. He's now living in Gastonia, North Carolina. His wife, my mom, Eleanor, she's a pastor of another church in North Carolina. So they both got churches. Yes. My mom is a deacon in her church in Maryland. My aunt is a pastor, prophet, and she is also my Peggy Norton, apostle, pastor, bishop. Peggy Norton is a huge reason for us even talking about Fuse. She preached a message during COVID when, meetings were only over Zoom, and the title of her message was You're Next. And I just happened to be on that call, and she preached this message that just spoke to my soul. If I'm not mistaken, it was like October of 2020, if I'm not mistaken, when it was preached. And it was that message, You're Next, coupled along with the message from my pastor, Pastor Chris Rue, Word of Life Christian Center, Newark, Delaware.
Yes.
We're sending love out, not shots out. We're sending love out.
We're sending love to Word of Life.
Sending love out. And he preached the message on the fire of the Holy Spirit. And it was at that point that You're Next and the fire of the Holy Spirit merged. And the Lord gave me Fired Up Soul Entertainment. Wow. So, wow. I know you have to reel me in, because when you give me something, I'm gonna go.
No, listen to me. Man, one episode could turn into two, so don't even worry about it. We can just keep talking. Don't even worry about that. Listen, and wow, like Jeremy, I'm sitting here watching and listening to you, and just I'm seeing this legacy, like just. It was meant to be. Who you are was meant to be. Like you are coming from, to quote another local church, seeds of greatness in a sense. Because I just that's what I was thinking, listening to you talk about your mom and your dad and your aunts, and just being surrounded by the word and being rooted in the word and following God's word in all things that you do. So how exciting. Woo, listen, and I know where Gastonia, North Carolina is. Let me tell you.
Let's go.
Listen, I was born and raised in Virginia, but I know a lot about North Carolina, man. Stop playing. So listen, I'm going to kind of kick things off here and ask you, where did your love of music originate? I know where your love of God originated, but I want to know where your love of music originated.
My love of music originated, my family will remember this experience or these experiences, but when I was 3, I was born in Maryland. Of course, my father was and still is a pastor in ministry, but at the point that I can remember being alive, we were in Salisbury, Maryland.
Okay.
I believe the name of the church was St. Paul AME Zion Church in Salisbury, Maryland.
Okay.
That's where my dad was pastor. And there was a minister of music there, and his name was Michael Deal. He's since passed away, but his name was Michael Deal.
Okay.
His family was just full of singers, and they had a singing group called the Emmy Deals. And Michael would just play the piano, and his brother Aaron would be on bass, and then their cousins and aunts and uncles would be singing in the choir. And it was that group, the Emmy Deals, spearheaded by Michael, that ignited my passion for music. I didn't at the time think I wanted to play anything or sing. It was just how what they did made me feel. You know what I mean?
Yes.
My love for music, it's attributed to the late, the great Michael Deal. Just, he was an amazing musician, an amazing man of God, and just, he opened up my heart. He didn't know, but he opened up my heart. That's where it starts, Salisbury, Maryland.
Wow, Salisbury, Maryland, and the minister of music, Michael Deal.
Michael Deal, he was the real deal.
He was the real deal. Yes, obviously, because you are here today and you're the real deal. So obviously he was the real deal, Jeremy. Now, I want to ask you this because you mentioned something you were talking about playing. What instruments do you play, Jeremy?
I currently only play one.
Okay.
Which is the piano.
The piano.
My brother and I growing up, before we would go to bed every night, we pray, Lord, bless me to play the keyboard, the drums, and the organ.
Okay.
And all of that happened.
Okay.
But what muscles you do not work.
Absolutely. All right, I got you. Now, you mentioned your brother. Is it just the two of you, or do you have other siblings?
I mean, you want the long story or the short?
Well,
I got a lot of brothers and sisters.
Okay.
So we have a lot of blended elements to my family. My natural mother, my natural father divorced when I was 9.
Okay.
They have both since been, remarried, and there have been other relationships in between.
Yes.
So as a result, we're going to take a short intermission for me to do the math. But no.
Hey, listen, Jeremy. It's a whole lot of blended families out here. It's a whole lot of stuff that happens in life, and so we all have that. So you don't have to give us a number.
It's a lot of.
We are picking up what you are putting down, and we understand that, and we understand those things, and we embrace it, right?
For sure.
And we embrace it. We embrace all the extra love that we can get, and the extra love that we can give. So right now, piano, organ, keyboard, but the drums, they're the muscles we're not using.
We are not using those muscles. No,
I got you.
Not at all.
I got you.
Not at all. I used to play trombone growing up in grade school, and then transitioned to bass trombone when I was in high school.
Okay.
So I'm kind of tempted to kind of start that back. I'm tempted now.
Okay.
I'm not committed. It's just a thought.
It's just a thought.
It's a seed of greatness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you. Listen, were you said band? I got to ask you this. Were you in the marching band? Were you in the jazz band? Did you do it?
I did everything that I could. I wish I would have been more involved. I did concert band, I did jazz bands, and by the time I played the bass trombone, 9th grade was when I took on the bass trombone. We had 2 jazz bands. You had your experienced band and your beginner band.
Okay.
They threw me in the experienced band.
Wow.
9th grade playing this bass trombone. Now, the bass trombone was twice my size.
Yes.
I mean, it was huge, and I was this little guy, but we would go into these jazz competitions, and they would laugh at me as I was walking out on stage. But by the time it was over, hey,
the joke was on them.
Hey, man, much respect. I said, you judging a book by its cover.
All right.
It was meant for me at that time, and,
and
I did what I had to do.
I got you. Now, you were in the band. Were you singing in the school choirs too?
That's where I met my current wife, the love of my life. Melanie Marie Wilson.
Say it with conviction. I love it.
We were just looking at the yearbook last night,
and my goodness.
She was showing our girls pictures of us in chorale with me standing behind her. And what would happen is while she was singing her lines, I was whispering sweet nothings in her ear. Okay. Or sweet something.
Sweet something. Oh my God. You know what, Jeremy? I did not know that was how you met Melanie. And sidebar, y'all, when you see these two together, just thinking about your arrival here today, and he is right. She is the love of his life, and he is the love of her life, and they have two beautiful daughters. And don't you love when when I look in your daughter's eyes, you see that light there, and you see brilliance. Like, these girls are just amazing. And so it's obvious to a parent when other parents are raising their children in such a way that they are preparing them for the greatness of what they will become. And I see that in your girls, and I see that in your movements with your wife, and how you compliment each other when you talk. I love that. She is here today, y'all.
Yes, she is.
But she is not on camera. She's hanging out in the room next door, but she is here. And I also have to say this. The support that she obviously gives you, it's just, it's beautiful. And, even with her, like the family riding along today, it was so good. But just her support of things that you do, whether it's singing or whether it's coming to hang out at Portia's place. And I'm grateful that she allowed me to take away a little bit of that family time for you to be here. I'm grateful for that. That doesn't always happen. So I'm thankful for that. And I know that a part of, just because it's lack of a better word right now, your success is because of this woman that you have by your side, and who has been by your side for a long time.
She's been. You can't plan this stuff. Okay, so yearbooks, right?
Yes.
People sign your yearbook. They have statements and all these. But keep in touch.
Yes.
When I was growing up,
KIT.
it was KIT. It's KIT. And I'm going through we're going through the yearbook, and I'm like, these are phone numbers. Who does that anymore, right?
Nobody. Everybody wrote their number in there, right? Everybody's writing numbers in the yearbook. Like, nobody does that. Go ahead.
What was so ironic was, she read to me what I wrote to her, and I read to her what she wrote to me. And I'm like, we are living in what we wrote about 20 years ago. We're living in it. And as much as I'm appreciative and grateful for the environments and the opportunities like God has just allowed me to be in, my first ministry is always to my family. It's always to my wife and to our children. So it doesn't matter where, my talents, for lack of a better term, allow me to go. If it is a disruption to my family, then the whole thing shuts down. Yes. You hear me?
Yes.
So it's priorities, and she has been my cheerleader, literally and figuratively. She used to decorate my locker in high school as a cheerleader before the sports games. So literally and figuratively, she has been my biggest cheerleader, even though she knows all there is to know about me.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes,
so
I do.
To kind of turn your back on someone who knows all of your ugly while you show all of your good, that's a keeper.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's an honest to goodness keeper.
Yes, it is.
And I can't thank my wife enough for being who she is.
Sending love out to Melanie.
Sending love.
All right, listen, woo! All right, well, hold on, because you said something. I got to go back to this. So what sports did you play, Jeremy?
Oh, my goodness.
Because you having a locker decorated, that sounds like you were on the starting team.
Well, our outfits probably were made by starter, but I played basketball.
Okay.
Basketball and football when I was in high school.
Okay.
But high school freshman year, I only played 1 year.
Okay.
Because I played defensive back. and we played a game against Middletown, who had grown men. Okay.
Yes.
And every time they ran that ball, they pulled two guys off the line and smacked me into oblivion. And I've been in music ever since. So, true story.
Listen, I have an uncle that has a very similar story about sports. But look, it's all about getting in where you fit in and knowing what you should be doing, right? So perhaps that was they were just two messengers there to steer you in the direction you were meant to be.
Agents of the Lord is
yes,
what they were.
Yes, because let me tell you, those Middletown boys, they were farm fed boys. They were farm fed boys, right? Middletown High definitely carries a lot of championships. They got a lot of championships under their belt. These guys are still always in the running for state championships. So you're right about that. So I'm glad you made it through that.
I'm gonna have to go back and see who the coach was and send him a thank you. Dear sir, you don't know me. I don't know you, but I thank you.
I thank you. That's right. That's right. All right. So I got to ask you this because, this music, it's just weaving in. When did you know that you would be impactful in the music world?
There's two answers. They're short. One is I thought I knew, and the other one is I never thought that I could be. My wife and I, we were just dating at the time. We were in her basement watching Trinity Broadcast Network, watching TBN.
TBN. With BB and CC Winans up there?
Not on that one.
Not on that one.
Not on that
I know
one.
TBN. Go ahead.
There was an episode where Kirk Franklin was hosting, and he had himself, Ty Tribbett, Fred Hammond, I believe Myron Butler was on as well, all gospel artists. And with each one of them that came to present their ministry, I didn't find myself like in worship, if you will. But with each one of them that came, something inside of me just wouldn't shut up. Like it was like, I could do that. That's all I could feel inside of me was, I could do that. And it was crazy because it was like healthy, but it wasn't, because my mindset was kind of like, man, I could do that. It's like, I don't know how, but I don't know why I'm feeling what I'm feeling now, experiencing what I'm experiencing through a TV. But it was like, I can do that.
Right.
But then there was the other side of me that was like, I can't do that. I saw what was successful, and the danger was I thought I needed to become what I saw in order to make an impact. And so I further began to lose myself trying to become like the things that were inspiring me, not realizing that God was in line to bless me, not what I was trying to be. So there was two different things. It's like, God doesn't make anything imperfect, and there's always a purpose, a plan, a design, and a desire for every human being that's created. And the trickery is when we see something that works and makes us feel good, a lot of time we start to veer off to try to be in line with that. But while this is good, it was just needed and necessary to kind of spark what is actually inside of you that God wants to nurture. So while I was doing some good things, growing in my talent and my gift, I was also off by a degree. And the further that I went along, I found myself more and more separated from where God wanted me to be, even though it appeared I was doing the right thing.
Right.
I had the right habits and behaviors, but because my trajectory was off by 1 degree, I found myself in a place where I'm doing everything right, or at least I thought I was, but I wasn't seeing any fruit. I wasn't seeing any progress. I started questioning who I was. I started questioning whether God really intended for me to be a part of it. So I'm like, there's no way that I should be doing this. And all along, it was really just that I was out of alignment. That's all it was. It's like, I was out of alignment. It's like, Jesus, take the wheel, but I'm out of alignment.
Right.
And it's more conducive to say, Jesus, take the wheel when we're in alignment, not necessarily when we're out, because we're still shaking and things can fall off. But when we get in alignment, When we get in alignment and then say, Jesus, take the wheel, now we have this path that doesn't come with friction when the Lord needs to turn you in certain
Yes.
ways. It's
Woo!
a smooth turn.
Say
You know
it.
what I'm saying? It's
Say
a smooth
it.
turn.
All right. All
That's
right.
that PK,
It's
I'm
on
telling you.
fire.
That's
It's
it.
on fire in Portia's place right now. It's on fire. Listen. Whoo. Okay. So. All right. I gotta get myself together, y'all. All right, for real. Okay, so listen. Professionally, what has been your greatest accomplishment thus far?
My greatest accomplishment this far, I would say, is getting into the semi-professional athletic system with my musical contribution. And the reason I would say that's probably, it's not the biggest stage, but the biggest accomplishment, because no one helped me do it. Absolutely no one had a hand outside of them saying yes.
Right.
There was no other hand involved. I did not ask for help from anybody else. How could I do? What should I do? Can you help me with? Can you do this part?
Yes.
It was none of that.
Yes.
My getting into the world of sports and athletics, it was a word from the Lord, specific to what I believe my assignment is. And basically, I put together a music track for a sports team that I believed I could help. And when it hit me, God gave me the lyrics for this whole situation in one sitting.
Yes.
And it took me maybe 3 weeks to complete. And I sent it to this sports team. And every time that me, my wife, my children, whether we were together or whether we were apart, when we would go by this particular arena,
Yes.
we would all pray the same thing every day, every time. No matter we were going someplace or
Yes.
coming back, every
Yes.
time we went by, we prayed. My prayer specifically was, I believe you'll take this song in Jesus' name.
Yes.
That was it.
Yes.
And my children started doing it. They said, take the song in Jesus' name.
Yes.
And they did.
Out of the mouth of babes.
Out of the mouth of babes. And I had an approach that did not work. I fine-tuned it and made some adjustments. And 9 months later, I got an email saying that they wanted what I had. But every day. And my children got it. So the reason why I say it was the biggest, it was because my children got to experience what it's like to pray for something, not experience the immediate result, but what the joy is like when it finally happens. So I could sit them down and try to teach scriptures and preach and all that other stuff. They ain't hearing that. They're more of, show me how this works, because my attention span when it comes to this is very small. But if you can show me something I can do and I can see the result, I'm more likely to hold on to that. So in essence, while I was the immediate beneficiary of what the Lord gave me to do, it was more so the benefit for my children, because now that speaks to how they'll be able to interact with the God that I serve. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's not something I could teach them, but I could show them, and they can approach God in their own way, know that, hey, I remember when this, I had a headache last night. My 7-year-old came up to me and said, be healed in Jesus' name. My 7-year-old.
Right.
She's never seen a healing ministry.
Right.
She's never seen somebody get their hands laid on in a church setting, or all of the, international pomp and circumstance with those that might be doing it for real, and that she's never been exposed to any of that. All she knew is what she's been shown. So
and she knows that she can pray for something and that her prayer is answered.
7
Amen
years
to
old.
that.
7 years old.
Planting the seeds.
Yeah, that's
she sees it.
My biggest personal accomplishment.
Wow. Well, I don't need to ask you what the personal one is, because you answered that with the professional. I have to tell you, when you sent that clip to me, Yo, thank goodness. I think I was home working. Like I screamed. Like
Oh, okay.
when I saw that reel, I was like, I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I know I'm screaming in the mic. I'm sorry. Listen, I was so thrilled, and I knew the desire of your heart, and so I was praying for you. And now, not every time I went past the building, I love that though. I love that. I love that. I'm not always in that area a lot, so I rarely go past there. But I'm telling you, I see it differently now. I've been on the train a couple of times in the past few weeks, and when I go that way and past that arena, I'm like,
Right.
I know. Well, listen, it's exciting, and I'm so excited to see what's going to be next, and I know that there is a next. So I can't wait. I'm so excited about that. I'm going to ask you one more question before I move into Viola's Vino. What's the most interesting location you've ever performed?
The most interesting location. There have been many.
Okay. Name a few. It doesn't have to be one. Name a few. Something tells me it's interesting.
Oh my goodness. I would say one of the most interesting from an experience standpoint was Ty Tribbett's Grammy party in Philadelphia years ago. The worship band that I was a part of at the time, we were asked to open. And it turned into this huge celebration where they surprised Ty Tribbett with a bunch of his friends. So we opened the concert, but then we didn't even know all that was happening. I mean, Donnie McClurkin shows up, Byron Cage is there, Ricky Dillard, JJ Hairston, there's a bunch of other, I mean, they just kept coming out of the woodworks, and I'm like, here I am, standing in the room, having opened the concert for one of the individuals that I saw on TV years ago, and on the inside of me, it was, man, I can do that. Right. And it was just an amazing experience just to be in the room. Did we get to, minister? Did we get to worship? Yes. But just to be in the room and was invited. I wasn't outside in no long lines trying to, man, when are we going to get a seat? It was none of that. I was invited.
You were a part of it. You were there being who you were supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, on the way, yeah.
On the way. The steering wheel was kind of making its way back. Like you were kind of coming back to the lane a little bit. Yeah. You were coming back to your lane a little bit. But listen.
I may have been riding on a donut.
But you were there.
I was there.
Oh my goodness. Listen. That's amazing. Look, we're gonna transition into something here at Portia's Place that we call Viola's Vino. And so this is the part of our time together where I like to talk about a specific wine, tell you a little bit about it, share some information on it, and then we'll get back because I have a couple things that I got to ask you once we finish this, because it's definitely some things I want our guests watching to also know about you. So today, I've got a bottle here, everyone, but today's Viola's Vino is going to be a Moscato. And specifically the one that we're drinking is Jersey Moscato. It hails from William Heritage Winery, where, I have a love affair with that winery, but in Mullica Hill, New Jersey. For those of you that have watched episode 4, we were fortunate enough to have the owners of William Heritage Winery here with us in Portia's Place. And this wine is from their Jersey line. Moscato is not one of their regulars, and I say that it's not one that they produce every year, but when they do, I'm really excited about it because Moscato's a very popular wine with a lot of people. And summertime's coming. It's great to have a nice chill bottle to enjoy with desserts, even spicy food, whatever. It's a nice wine to enjoy. A lot of people, Jeremy, don't realize that Moscato is actually a part of a family of Muscat grapes. So, and that go back thousands of years. In fact, rumor has it that Cleopatra was actually a fan of Muscat grapes, which is pretty interesting, right? I love throwing little tidbits of information
Nothing
like
wrong
that
with that
in.
at
I
all.
love
Let's
that. I
go.
love that. So these grapes go back thousands of years, and they're grown all over the world. That's the other thing. The varieties in this family of grapes, they're grown all over the world. Moscato, your aromas sometimes with these, you're gonna have like your mandarin oranges, you're gonna have your orange blossom, your pear, honeysuckle, even rose. So that's gonna be what's on the nose when you smell a Moscato. The other interesting thing is the sweetness for these wines. They're from the unfermented grape sugar. So no additional sugar is added to these wines to make them sweet. The grapes are sweet on their own. And also, Moscatos, it's interesting that they are sometimes white, they can be pink. There's even a black Moscato that's out there in color. It's very interesting. Yes, yeah.
Now, you need to bring that back in
listen,
February.
listen.
So when I'm just saying.
I'll have to target that for season 2. See if I can get my hands on a bottle of that very
Let's
rare
go.
black Moscato. We got to be about that, right? I love it.
What would Cleo do?
Yes. What would Cleopatra do? Yes. What would Cleopatra do? Jerry's I love it. So listen. So the first thing you and I are gonna do, we're gonna swirl the glass. We're gonna see if we can smell some of those aromas, and then some of the flavors that are gonna be in Moscato will be very similar to the aromas. You're gonna potentially have mandarin orange. You're gonna have some apricot, maybe. You're gonna have some peach. Also flavors of honey as well in Moscato. So just swirl your glass around a little bit, get that going because it's been sitting out here a while. We've been talking a while, but it's
My
good.
apologies.
That's how. No. Hey, listen. That's how good visits go.
That's how they
Anybody
go.
that's in Portia's place, anything can happen. So just take it up, give it a sniff. What do you smell, Jeremy?
Happiness.
Cheers to that.
Smells like a good day.
Oh my God. All right.
I really think I'm going more so towards it's citrusy. So I'm thinking more of the oranges kind of
Okay. I smell a little of what would be the honeysuckle. I smell that, and I smell the orange as well in this. Yeah, I do. You ready to take a little taste?
kind of reminds me of the church fruit punch from back in the day.
I know what you're talking about.
So now I know never mind.
Let's not go there. Let's not
Never
go
mind.
there. Listen.
I done gave y'all up. My bad.
Listen, when my mom was here it was like episode 3, and we were tasting the Blue Hidden Blue, which is a blueberry wine.
Oh, wow.
She was like, "This tastes like the wine from communion."
See, look. Out of 2 or 3 witnesses left.
You are right. All right, let's take a little taste.
Let's
take
do.
a little taste. What are you tasting other than happiness?
It's smooth. Okay, so I can't like Martin. You know, Martin, it's not one of those. It's the citrus aspect gets me right there in the jaw.
Yes.
Right there in the jaw. It's smooth.
Yes.
It's not necessarily like it doesn't have a lot of carbonation to it. There's a tinge of it, but it's not overbearing in any way, shape, or form. It's smooth and enjoyable.
I taste a little peach in this too. Not a ton, but I get a little peach. And almost like a little nectarine as well.
I agree with the peach. That's really good.
It's good. And the hey, my employers make good wine. They do now. That's no doubt about it. I'm biased, but I am biased, but
No,
they can make some good wine,
that's
right?
really good.
I also want to share with everyone, because this is important too, Jeremy, because one of the things I'm doing as a part of this podcast, it's important that, I feel like people can enjoy wine. They don't have to spend a lot of money on wine.
Sure.
And it also doesn't matter what kind of wine you like. I was talking in another episode with someone, and sometimes when you talk about sweet wines, some of the wine snobs turn their noses up and they're like, oh, sweet wine, yuck. But you know what? I read a phrase somewhere that I like. Instead of necessarily saying sweet, say wines of meditation. That just rolls off the tongue, right? Wines of meditation. But a Moscato is, it's a great wine. It's not the sweetest of wines. This particular one, I'm going to say is more so along the lines of almost a semi-dry. So it's not super sweet,
Yeah.
but it's definitely refreshing, especially for the warm weather. So if you're someone that loves Moscato, this particular bottle from William Heritage Winery, it sells for $16.
Oh, wow.
But I'm also a fan of others. I'm a fan of Bartonura. They do a great Moscato. They even do a Moscato d'Asti. So if you've had a Moscato that's sparkling in a sense, they'll be your Moscato d'Asti. So whenever you see that, you're going to have a little sparkle there with that, a little fizz with that, if that's your thing. I also look, Stella Rosa makes a great Moscato, and we're talking $10 to $12 for these bottles. So if you're doing something cupcake, Vietti, they all do great Moscatos and Moscato d'Asti. So great choice for the warm weather, for the summer months, for hanging out. It's Memorial Day, but look, 4th of July is coming.
Yes, it is.
Summertime is coming. And to have something great for your guests that do like wine, that don't necessarily want to spend a lot, but can get a really nice, flavorful wine to go with whatever is being served at the cookout. It's
Sure.
a good choice. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. So thank you for being a part of Viola's Vino.
Hey, thank you for bringing me in.
I love it. All right. So look, I got a couple more things I want to ask you before our visit ends today. Tell me this. One goal that you're willing to share with our guests today. Like what's a goal that you have out there, Jeremy, that you'd like to accomplish? And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be about music. And let me say this, you've accomplished so many things when it comes to your wife and daughter. So we're going to take them out of the equation. Another goal that you have for yourself, though, that you're willing to share. And I say that to all of you watching, because sometimes we have goals that we don't want to put out there.
Yeah,
Sometimes
indeed.
they're private. Sometimes they're personal. Sometimes they're things that you're just keeping close to your heart, the desires of our heart. So that's why I'm saying that. I'm not saying he's keeping secrets or anything like that. I'm saying that sometimes we keep things close, understandably so. So now that I've interrupted all of that, go ahead. Tell
You
us.
said one goal?
One goal. If you want to make it two, it's okay.
I can make it two goals.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had a desire to write a song that pays specific bills. So if there's a car, if there's a house, if there's a boat, I want one song that will pay for each of those individually. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. I love it.
Yeah, so
I love it.
anytime a bill arises,
Yes.
I want there to be a song that specifically takes care of that bill. That's a personal goal.
Wow.
And it's doable.
Yes.
Like how many bills can you really acquire or assess over the course of time? I mean,
Yes.
and it's that many songs.
Yes.
I believe it's something that can be done. And that may even tie into this other goal.
Yes.
That I have. And I'd never put this together before, so your question just kind of did this for me.
Okay.
One of my goals is simply the nature of the business that's been created. It's Fired Up Soul Entertainment. It's designed to inspire people through music, through speaking, through teaching. I want to find ways to invade people's space in a way that encourages them to be the best that they can possibly be with whatever they desire to do in life. That's my goal. Most people would say, I don't want to say most people, some people would say, is to be famous, is to make money, is to have this. I'm not necessarily interested in that kind of thing as my priority. It could be a byproduct. That's not something I can control.
Right.
What I can control is my contribution to the person that sits next to me, to the person that's in front of me, to the person that's been counted out several times over, to the person that's been overlooked, to the person that's been, excuse me, to the person that's been cast to the side. I really feel that my life's mission is to find ways to inspire people, to motivate them to be more than what they currently are, or go beyond, go further than what they think they're capable of doing, because that's the ministry and the message of Jesus, for us to see ourselves as more than we typically do so that we can be of benefit to someone else. I think I said to you earlier, thank you for your yes, because your yes gives somebody else the opportunity to step into their design and their desire. Even if they don't know who God is or whether they acknowledge God in any way, shape, or form, that's not necessarily the goal. It's just for you to be the best or most accurate representation of what God gave you so that someone else can make a choice. So when I step into your life, it's almost like I'm presenting you with an opportunity.
Yes.
I'm presenting you with an opportunity to cling on to this vision that God has of you in hopes that you would have it too, or whether you're just okay on your own. And I had to make that decision for myself at some point, and I just wish I would have made that decision to step into this aspect of my life much sooner. So now that I know what it feels like and what things can be like in this path, I just want to open other people up to the same opportunity that I had. I ain't God, I'm not trying to be, but I can introduce you to him just like I did my children, praying every day, going by this one place. I could tell you all day to love God with all your heart. But if I can show you the result of you doing the activities, if you will, and engaging, and you see the result, then you can make that decision for yourself. I just want people to be better off than what they were.
I'm certainly better off than where I was before this episode started, and I'm certainly better off in knowing you. And I mean that, bro. I mean it.
Likewise.
Like, I'm serious. I'm serious about that. Thank you for saying yes. All right. Last question. I feel like you've almost already answered it, but I'm going to see if it's something different. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy. I want my legacy to be, I want it viewed from someone who understood what it means to be forgiven and not withholding grace from someone else who needs it too. That's what I want my legacy to be.
Wow.
No matter, a lot of times when you talk about the forgiveness factor, it's usually about forgiving someone for what happened to you, or an experience that you had, or a situation that arose. You were hurt, you were offended. But there's also the other side of the coin of forgiveness, because it's not that things always happen to people, but we are the thing that happened to somebody else. So forgiveness it's two ways,
yes.
Right? It's not just about the things that happened to you, but the things you may have done. But forgiveness goes both ways.
Yes.
I want my legacy to be one who understands what it is to be forgiven, and one who understands what it means to extend it. I don't have the right to withhold something from someone that God was not willing to withhold from me.
From you.
At the moment I do, I say that my way is better than God's. That I'm the judge and the jury, and everything he created was wrong. It doesn't matter. I'm not talking about, not being able to be angry or mad. It's not that. It's just a decision. It's a choice to forgive because our choices lead and our feelings follow. Okay?
Say that again.
Our choices lead, our feelings follow. So if I have to keep rehearsing, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, so that my actions line up with what I've been saying, then that's what it takes. But I don't care what happens. I do not have the right to not forgive someone, because that forgiveness, it's really about my relationship with God. And when I don't forgive, I'm saying there's no way you could forgive them, but you forgave me? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's the same grace for all of us. And the sooner we can lay hold to that, a much better place, a much better world will be. Now, usually what happens when you talk about stuff like that, I promise you, probably today, tomorrow, I'm going to be faced with a situation.
And you're going to have to forgive.
I'm going to be faced with a situation. I'm like, dang, nabbit.
I had to say that. I just had to say that.
Just had to say it. As soon as we leave.
No, listen. What a legacy. Like, I thought you had answered that question already, but I was dead wrong. That is the answer. That is the answer. Jeremy, thank you so much. I'm going to wrap things up here. At the end of every visit here at Portia's Place, I like to end with May's message in honor of my grandmother, Annie Mae Jackson, whose husband was a pastor. And this time it's very interesting. I never know it's going to be a quote. It's just going to be something that, but today something was laid on my spirit to say as a part of May's message, and not even knowing how this conversation was going to necessarily go, but I'm going to read this, and it's 1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. All right, so to kind of say something that my brother here said a minute ago, whether you believe in God or not, what I just read to you is really saying that, listen, every good thing that we have that is ours, it's from God's grace. And I encourage you all to remember that these gifts that He's bestowed upon us, it is our job to share those gifts with others and be stewards of those gifts. Because that is what they are. There's a lot of things that we can learn through education, through travel, through meeting people and life experiences, but there are gifts that are in each of us. And we have to honor Him for those gifts by sharing them with others. I'm going to jump out and paraphrase a little bit. I heard someone preach a message, not this past Mother's Day, but last Mother's Day. And I'm definitely paraphrasing what she said, but it was just talking about use what you got. And she said something in this message, sending love out to Minister Daphne Edmonds. And she said, if God gave you a gift to talk, then talk.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that, and I'm a talker, but it's not just about talking. It's about the words that we're using and the words that we are speaking to others. And I am really trying hard here with Portia's Place to use the gifts that I have received. And I thank you for sharing your gifts with the world, but I'll never be able to thank you enough for sharing your gifts here at Portia's Place with us, because this episode is everything.
Wow.
So thank you. Thank you for being so transparent. Thank you for the good energy, because then that just caused me to bounce right off of that. Look, my executive producer's in the room, y'all. Y'all know Jeffrey's here. Look, Jeffrey, this is how we are when we see each other in the building.
Yep.
But we got to keep it at a certain level, because we can't act crazy, because we need those checks. But this is how we are, and this is how it's always been. Even though we're not on the same team, when we see each other, sure, we're both so excited to hear what's going on and what's that new thing and what's happening now. So thank you for immediately. I didn't even have to get the sentence out saying yes to coming here. And so I appreciate that. I look forward to welcoming you back, because I'm going to tell you what I know. Everyone's going to want to know what's happening next with Fuse. Like, they're going to want to know what's going on with Fuse. And particularly for our sports lovers out there, I am sure that they are very intrigued by the conversation. So I can't wait to see where it goes. I am asking that those of you that are watching Portia's Place, if you believe in the power of prayer, let's keep those prayers going for Fuse and for everything that Jeremy is doing, and covering him and his family, and just keeping him in alignment. Yeah. I don't think I need to tell him that, because I can tell by the way he talked about almost maybe veering off into a ditch that he is staying aligned. But
you know, I've crashed a few times, got a new car. I mean,
but listen, Jeremy, thank you for everything. Thank you for introducing us to members of your family that, you know, you never know. One day I may bump into and be like, I know your nephew. I know your cousin, you know, and thank you again. I look forward to having you back again on Portia's Place. I am also praying that you are led to create something beautiful to kick off season 2 of Portia's Place. Maybe some theme music for me, y'all. No, but seriously,
let's go.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for the time, for spending a part of your holiday with us. Thank you all for watching as always. I'll see you next time at Portia's Place, where you'll never whine alone. Cheers.
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 What's up, everybody? I just wanted to share with you how important it is to know that you are an instrument in the hands of the Lord. And there was a song that God gave me about what it meant to be an instrument and what it's like when you haven't been played in quite some time. So for the preface of this song, I just want you to envision God with his hands on you, and this is the song that he gave me. It's called Played Again. Take me out of the case and tune my strings, turn me all the way up, 'cause Lord, I wanna be used by you. Now position your hands, so intentional. Pick me apart, show me your heart. Anticipation's rising. The gift was tucked away for far too long. Tell me what's the use in hiding this instrument of praise that you paid for. I wanna be played again. Pick me up, pull my strings, have your way again. And every fret of my praise, let it bless your name, oh Lord, to be played again. God bless y'all. Love y'all. Thank y'all for having me.